Welcome to Starlight's Sci-Fi, where imagination meets the stars. Today we unravel a tale of cosmic awe and terror, a story that answers why the ancient, unknowable entities of the cosmos fear humanity. In the infinite expanse of the cosmos, where civilizations rise and fall like whispers in the void, humanity is but an insignificant blip, or so it seems. Yet, among the most ancient and godlike beings, there exists a chilling warning: beware the humans. This is the tale of how our kind became the nightmare of elder gods. In the unfathomable expanse of the cosmos, before stars burned and planets spun, there was order. The universe was not the chaotic, expanding wilderness we now know. It was a masterpiece of precision and harmony, overseen by the elder gods. These primordial beings were not mere entities, they were forces of nature, the architects of existence itself. They wove the laws of physics into place, sculpted galaxies into spirals, and breathed life into the void. To them, the cosmos was not a mystery, it was their canvas, their creation. The elder gods were ancient even when time itself was new. They existed beyond mortal comprehension, as vast as nebulae and as eternal as the flow of energy through the universe. To mortal minds, they might be seen as vast storms of light, swirling with colors no eye could fathom, or as immense, shadowy forms stretching across dimensions unseen. But these forms were mere echoes of their true selves, manifestations only slightly tethered to the physical realm. Their thoughts moved like gravity, shifting entire galaxies with the faintest whim. In their solitude, the gods sang a symphony of vibration through the fabric of reality. It wasn't music as we know it, but a resonance that ordered the chaos. Planets formed in spirals of harmony, stars ignited to rhythms they dictated, and entire dimensions folded and unfolded in time with their immeasurable will. The universe wasn't expanding at random, it was dancing to their tune. For billions of years, this symphony was the only sound that echoed through existence, and for billions of years the elder gods found it perfect. They neither aged nor tired, existing in a perpetual cycle of creation and destruction, their power unchecked and their dominion absolute. But the gods were not benevolent creators. Their interest in the cosmos was not born of love but of an instinctual need to exert control, to express their infinite power. To them, creation was a form of art, but also a form of entertainment. They shaped worlds only to shatter them, raised life from the dust only to watch it writhe in their presence. Mortals, where they existed, were insignificant specks to be molded, destroyed, or ignored entirely. Entire species prayed to these beings for mercy, for guidance, but the elder gods didn't answer. To them, such beings were as fleeting as sparks in a campfire, gone before they even warranted notice. The gods believed they were eternal, untouchable. They had existed since before the first star ignited, and they expected to exist long after the last one dimmed. There was no threat to their rule, no challenge to their supremacy. In their eyes, the cosmos was a fixed hierarchy, the elder gods at the pinnacle, and all other forms of existence below. They were creation itself, and there was nothing that could ever question their dominance. It was this hubris, this unwavering certainty in their own invincibility, that blinded them to the coming storm. In their arrogance, the elder gods never conceived of a force that could challenge them. But among the billions of galaxies, on an unremarkable planet circling an unremarkable star, a fragile spark of defiance would one day rise. For now, though, the gods continued their symphony, oblivious to the first, faint ripples of discord forming in the distant future. The cosmic choir sang on, unaware that their perfect harmony would one day be broken. Eons passed, and the elder gods remained oblivious to the happenings of smaller worlds. To them, mortal life was an inevitability, an accidental byproduct of their cosmic compositions. From time to time, life would rise on a planet, thrive for a brief moment, and then be erased by the endless cycles of creation and destruction. It was the natural rhythm, a fleeting anomaly in the vast, eternal dance of the cosmos. Mortals were ants beneath the feet of gods, their existence too insignificant to warrant even a passing thought. On a nondescript planet orbiting a small yellow star, one such life form emerged. In the early days, humans were as unremarkable as any other species scattered throughout the stars. They were fragile creatures, bound by the laws of biology and time. They lacked claws, fangs, or thick hides to defend themselves. Compared to other life in the cosmos, some with immense physical power or innate telepathic abilities, humans seemed laughably weak. Their lifespans were short, their reach limited, their knowledge confined to the dirt beneath their feet. And yet, despite their fragility, humans survived. They thrived in ways that defied the odds, building tools and shelter to protect themselves. Where other species adapted physically to their environments, humans relied on something unique: their minds. Their capacity to think, to create, and to imagine allowed them to overcome challenges far greater than themselves. Each setback sharpened their resolve, each failure pushed them to innovate. They weren't the strongest, but they were the most adaptable. It was this relentless adaptability that would one day catch the attention of powers far greater than themselves. As the centuries turned to millennia, humans began to reach beyond their world. They built cities and civilizations, harnessing fire, electricity, and eventually the atom itself. Their curiosity was insatiable, driving them to look up at the stars and wonder what lay beyond. They didn't know it, but their hunger for knowledge sent ripples into the void, tiny, faint echoes of their growing ambition. It was during this period of growth that humans unknowingly made their first contact with the fabric of the Elder Gods' dominion. Their experiments in energy and matter began to push against the boundaries of higher dimensions. They discovered radiation and quantum mechanics, tinkering with the very building blocks of reality. Each new breakthrough brought them closer to understanding the universe's secrets, peeling back layers of the cosmic tapestry. Unlike other species who had risen and fallen before them, humanity refused to accept limits. Where others saw insurmountable barriers, humans saw puzzles waiting to be solved. Their resilience bordered on defiance. This determination wasn't born of arrogance or rebellion, it was simply their nature. They were problem solvers, dreamers, and explorers. Each generation pushed further than the last, standing on the shoulders of those who came before. To the Elder Gods, these faint ripples were too small to notice. But if they had been watching, they might have felt a shiver of unease. For the first time, a species was not content to simply exist. Humans weren't just surviving, they were reaching, building, and striving to understand the cosmos itself. In their minds burned a single, unstoppable question: why? And so, the spark of defiance began to glow brighter. What humanity lacked in power, they made up for in persistence. The gods, blind in their arrogance, continued their symphony, blissfully unaware of the fragile yet tenacious spark that would one day threaten to set the entire cosmos ablaze. Humanity's endless curiosity eventually reached a turning point. As their technological advancements accelerated, they turned their gaze outward, seeking to understand not only their world but the universe itself. They built telescopes that peered deep into the cosmos, launched probes into the void, and harnessed mathematics to decipher the language of the stars. Each discovery fueled the next, as though the universe itself was daring them to uncover its secrets. It was in their quest for energy, clean, limitless, and infinite, that humanity unknowingly crossed a boundary. Scientists had long speculated about the nature of the vacuum of space. They theorized that the nothingness of the void wasn't truly empty, but instead teemed with invisible particles and energies. This enigmatic force, later dubbed zero-point energy, seemed to exist beneath the very fabric of reality itself. Harnessing it, they believed, could unlock an energy source vast enough to power civilizations for eternity. What began as an ambitious research project soon turned into an obsession. Across continents, massive laboratories were constructed, equipped with technologies that could manipulate subatomic particles and probe the hidden dimensions of existence. The project's goal was straightforward: to extract zero-point energy from the vacuum. What they didn't realize was that their experiments didn't just tug at the threads of reality, they sent vibrations rippling across the vast, interconnected web of dimensions that the Elder Gods had woven billions of years ago. The first successful test was brief but spectacular. In a remote facility buried beneath a mountain, a team of scientists managed to extract a spark of energy from the void. The resulting power surge lit up the entire region for mere seconds, but it left a profound mark on the cosmos. The energy wasn't just immense, it resonated. For the first time in billions of years, something touched the fabric of existence in a way that didn't belong to the Elder Gods. The ripples spread silently, traveling through dimensions unseen by human eyes. It was subtle, a faint tremor in the infinite ocean of the cosmos. But to the Elder Gods, it was a discordant note in their symphony, an aberration that could not be ignored. Deep in the folds of reality, where the gods slumbered in their eternal dominion, they felt it. A vibration that spoke not of submission, but of disruption. Yet the gods did not immediately act. Such ripples had occurred before, caused by other species that had briefly flirted with forces beyond their comprehension. Those species, without fail, had destroyed themselves before ever becoming a true threat. The gods, steeped in arrogance, assumed humanity would follow the same path. After all, what could such fragile, short-lived beings accomplish in the face of infinity? But humanity was different. The ripple didn't fade, it grew. With each experiment, each new breakthrough, the resonance strengthened, spreading further across the dimensional fabric. What the elder gods failed to understand was that humans weren't just tampering with forces they didn't understand, they were learning. Each mistake, every accident, only pushed them closer to mastering the forbidden. For humanity, this was a triumph. They had tapped into the infinite. For the elder gods, it was the beginning of an era they could not have anticipated, one where the lesser creatures of the cosmos would no longer stay in their place. A spark had been struck, and though the gods remained oblivious to its full implications, the first tremors of defiance had already reached their thrones. The universe, once a stage for the elder gods alone, was about to become a battlefield. In their arrogance, the elder gods had always viewed mortal life as transient and inconsequential. Planets rose and fell, species lived and died, yet nothing truly disrupted the vast symphony they conducted across the cosmos. But humanity's meddling had struck a dissonant chord. While the gods didn't yet perceive humanity as a threat, the growing ripples of their experiments intrigued one of them. It had been eons since anything in the physical realm had deviated from their grand design, and for a being steeped in eternity, curiosity could be a dangerous thing. Among the elder gods, one was known as Kairos, the Silent Watcher, a being who reveled in observing the flickers of mortal life across the cosmos. Kairos descended upon Earth, its presence invisible but all-encompassing. It did not appear in any physical form that humans could comprehend. Instead, it infiltrated the edges of their perceptions, a shadow in the corner of an eye, a hum in the deepest silence, an inexplicable sense of dread. Kairos's goal was simple: to study the creatures who dared tamper with the fabric of creation. It had no fear of humanity. Why would it? For billions of years, gods like Kairos had crushed civilizations with the faintest thought. To them, mortals were insects, and Earth was just another ephemeral spark in the vast darkness. But this time, Kairos underestimated its prey. Humanity, driven by its insatiable curiosity, had not only discovered zero-point energy, but had also begun experimenting with strange anomalies born from their research. One such anomaly was a localized distortion field, a strange, shifting space where reality itself seemed to bend. Objects within the field would flicker, split, or dissolve into something unrecognizable. To Kairos, this was laughably primitive, but to the humans it was a puzzle, and they had begun to solve it. Unbeknownst to the god, their distortion field was no mere accident. It had become a trap, though humanity itself didn't fully realize its implications. When Kairos's essence seeped too close to their experiments, it became ensnared. The distortion field latched onto the god's presence, not out of design but as a byproduct of the forces it manipulated. The humans had unknowingly captured a fragment of Kairos, a feat that should have been impossible. For the elder god, this was unthinkable. It struggled to free itself, but the field's chaotic nature resisted its attempts. Its essence, once infinite and untouchable, was now contained in a bizarre, unstable prison. The humans, oblivious to the true nature of their captive, began studying it with the only tools they had: science. They dissected the anomaly, poking and prodding, recording their observations. Every interaction yielded breakthroughs. They discovered patterns in the energy field, strange vibrations that hinted at the secrets of dimensions far beyond their own. What humanity saw as an opportunity for discovery, Kairos experienced as agony. It had never known vulnerability, never felt fear. Yet here it was, its essence dissected by beings who couldn't even comprehend its true form. To them, it was just another puzzle to solve. They mapped its energy, replicated its patterns, and unknowingly unlocked fragments of the god's ancient knowledge. This violation was unprecedented. Never before had a mortal species dared to dissect an elder god, let alone succeeded. Humanity, still unaware of the enormity of what they'd done, continued their work, driven by their insatiable thirst for understanding. They had stumbled upon forbidden knowledge, and with each experiment, they grew bolder, delving deeper into the mysteries of existence. Kairos' screams of rage and despair echoed across dimensions, heard only by its fellow gods. The elder gods stirred uneasily, sensing that something had gone terribly wrong. They didn't yet know the full extent of the damage. But one thing was clear: humanity was no ordinary species. They had not only touched the fabric of the gods' dominion, they had torn a piece of it away. For the first time in countless eons, an elder god had been humbled. And though humanity remained blissfully unaware, their actions had set the stage for a conflict that would shake the very foundations of the cosmos. The capture and study of Kairos marked a turning point in humanity's ascent. Though they remained unaware of the true nature of what they had ensnared, the knowledge they gleaned from their experiments shattered the boundaries of their understanding of reality. Physics, once the sturdy bedrock upon which all scientific principles rested, began to feel more like a suggestion than a rule. From the fragmented essence of the trapped elder god, humanity unlocked secrets they were never meant to hold. They discovered how to manipulate space and time in ways that defied the natural order. They learned to fold dimensions, opening pathways across vast stretches of the universe in the blink of an eye. They uncovered methods to extract limitless energy from the vacuum of space without destabilizing their own reality. But their most terrifying achievement was learning to weave the fabric of existence itself, creating and destroying matter with an elegance that rivaled the gods. The technological revolution that followed was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced. Devices capable of bending space-time became as ubiquitous as electricity had been centuries before. Cities shimmered with fields of artificial gravity, floating above oceans and deserts. Starships powered by zero-point energy carried explorers to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Diseases were eradicated, aging was reversed, and even death itself became a challenge to overcome. But with their newfound power came an evolution of thought. Humanity no longer saw themselves as mere inhabitants of the cosmos, they saw themselves as its architects. Where the elder gods had been content to sculpt galaxies and set the cosmos into motion, humans sought to refine it, to perfect it. They no longer accepted the universe as it was. Every flaw, every inefficiency, every limitation was a puzzle to be solved, an obstacle to be overcome. The elder gods, observing from the higher dimensions, began to feel the first stirrings of true unease. They had always dismissed mortal species as inconsequential, but humanity was proving to be something different. Other civilizations had discovered scraps of forbidden knowledge before, but their curiosity had always been their undoing. They tampered with forces they didn't understand, unleashing destruction upon themselves long before they could pose a threat. Humanity, however, was not following this pattern. They didn't self-destruct. They learned. Each mistake became a stepping stone, each failure a lesson. Their adaptability was unparalleled, their ingenuity limitless. They were no longer dabbling in the fringes of forbidden knowledge. They were mastering it. For the elder gods, this was a nightmare. The humans were not merely surviving, they were evolving. Their experiments with zero-point energy and dimensional manipulation began to reshape the cosmic fabric in ways that even the gods found difficult to predict. The gods, who had once believed themselves to be the ultimate arbiters of existence, now faced the realization that their dominion was being challenged by a species they had once considered insignificant. Kairos, now free but irreparably wounded, returned to the higher planes and delivered a warning to its brethren. Humanity, it explained, was unlike any species they had encountered before. Their power did not stem from their physical might or technological prowess, but from their refusal to accept limits. They didn't just break the rules of the cosmos, they rewrote them. Still, the gods hesitated. They could not believe that mortals, no matter how clever, could ever truly rival their supremacy. But deep within the folds of reality, the evidence was growing. Humanity's influence was spreading. Their technologies bent the laws of physics. Their creations shimmered with energies that resonated through dimensions. In their pursuit of perfection, humans had not only become the masters of their own world, they had begun to rewrite the cosmos itself. The elder gods, once secure in their omnipotence, now found themselves watching humanity with a growing sense of dread. The architects of the cosmos had met a new challenger, architects of a far more dangerous kind. The elder gods had underestimated humanity, a mistake born of their hubris and eons of unchallenged supremacy. They had assumed that humanity, like all other mortal species, would collapse under the weight of its own ambition. But now the signs were undeniable. Humanity had not only survived but thrived, and their reach was beginning to encroach upon territories the gods had long considered sacrosanct. At first, the incursions were subtle. Tiny fractures appeared in the higher dimensions, like hairline cracks on a flawless crystal. These weren't acts of rebellion or malice, they were the unintended consequences of humanity's experiments. When humans folded space-time to create faster-than-light travel, the ripple effects disturbed the carefully woven balance of the multiverse. When they harnessed zero-point energy, the resonance echoed across dimensions, disrupting the ancient symphony of the gods. What alarmed the elder gods most, however, was humanity's growing understanding of the fundamental codes of reality. Through relentless curiosity and experimentation, humans were beginning to decipher the cosmic architecture the gods had spent eons creating. They were learning to manipulate the laws of physics with increasing precision, unraveling secrets even the gods had long forgotten. In their arrogance, the gods had always believed that mortals lacked the capacity to grasp such knowledge. Yet humanity, with their fragile bodies and fleeting lifespans, had found a way to compress generations of progress into mere decades. Their technological achievements were staggering, but it was their mindset that truly set them apart. Unlike other species that had cowered before the unknown, humans embraced it. They saw the cosmos not as an immovable monolith, but as a challenge waiting to be mastered. The gods, now fully aware of humanity's potential, began to intervene. At first, they attempted subtle sabotage. They manipulated the fabric of space to destabilize human starships. They sent waves of entropy to disrupt humanity's experiments. They whispered chaos into the folds of reality, hoping to fracture the fragile unity that had allowed humans to ascend so far. But the gods' interference only strengthened humanity's resolve. Each setback was treated as a new puzzle, each disaster an opportunity to learn. The humans adapted faster than the gods could act, their ingenuity seemingly endless. Where other species would have seen the gods' actions as divine wrath, humanity saw them as a challenge, a puzzle woven into the very fabric of existence. The turning point came when humanity's greatest minds began to detect the presence of something vast and ancient moving in the shadows of their experiments. Their sensors registered faint anomalies, patterns of energy and matter that defied explanation. At first, they didn't understand what they were observing, but as their analysis grew more sophisticated, the realization struck. They weren't alone in the universe, and the anomalies weren't natural. For the first time, humanity turned its attention not just outward but upward. They began to search for the source of these disruptions, building devices that could detect and trace the faint whispers of the elder gods. What they found shook them to their core. The gods, in their attempts to sabotage humanity's progress, had revealed themselves. And humanity, instead of retreating, pressed forward. They developed technology capable of manipulating higher dimensional energies, a feat previously thought impossible. They began to counteract the gods' interference, unraveling their attempts at sabotage and restoring balance to their creations. In doing so, they sent a clear message to the elder gods: humanity would not be cowed. To the gods, this defiance was unprecedented. No mortal species had ever resisted their will, let alone pushed back. And yet, humanity wasn't just resisting, they were evolving. Each interaction with the gods taught them something new. Each attempt at suppression only drove them to innovate further. In their arrogance, the elder gods had assumed their dominion was eternal, but now they could feel the echoes of defiance growing louder, reverberating through the cosmos. Humanity was no longer a mere spark of life flickering in the void. They were a fire, one that threatened to consume everything in its path. For the first time in countless eons, the gods felt something they had long forgotten: fear. The cosmos, once a masterpiece of the elder gods' creation, was now humming with the defiant rhythm of humanity's rise. What had started as ripples of curiosity and innovation had grown into waves of undeniable power. Humanity's reach extended further than even they realized. Their ships moved through folded dimensions, their machines pierced the boundaries of existence, and their minds unraveled mysteries that had long been the sole domain of gods. The elder gods, for all their vastness and power, had never encountered a species that responded to their interference with such resilience. Where others had crumbled in despair, humanity thrived in adversity. The gods' whispers of chaos, their subtle manipulations of reality, had only strengthened the resolve of these fragile creatures. Each challenge became a stepping stone, every obstacle an opportunity for humanity to push its understanding further. But it was not just humanity's knowledge or technology that terrified the gods, it was their spirit. Humans possessed an audacity that defied cosmic order. They refused to accept their place in the universe, shattering the hierarchies that had stood unchallenged for eons. Where other species worshipped or feared the gods, humanity dissected them, learned from them, and even used their power to improve their own. The gods convened in the higher planes, their vast consciousnesses merging in deliberation. Some called for immediate action. They argued for the annihilation of Earth, the total eradication of humanity before their power could grow any further. These voices, steeped in fear and pride, believed that such a drastic step was the only way to preserve the cosmic balance. Others hesitated. Humanity's actions had already proven that they could withstand direct interference. Worse, destroying them might send unintended ripples through the fragile fabric of reality. The humans had become so entangled with the cosmic architecture that their annihilation could unravel dimensions in ways even the gods could not predict. Ultimately, the gods decided on a different course of action, a warning. They would confront humanity directly, something they had not done in billions of years. It was an act of desperation, but also one of caution. Perhaps, they reasoned, humanity would heed the voice of the divine and retreat from their reckless ascent. Through their vast, multidimensional presence, the elder gods manifested their warning. It appeared not as a singular event, but as a cascade of phenomena across the universe. Stars flickered and sang with impossible harmonics. Black holes released bursts of light that carried messages encoded in their quantum echoes. On Earth, the skies filled with visions, fractals of color and sound that spoke directly to the human mind. The message was clear: cease your meddling. You walk a path that leads to ruin. The forces you harness are not meant for mortal hands. Stop now, or face the wrath of eternity itself. Humanity listened. They studied the message, deciphered its patterns, and cataloged its implications. But instead of fear, they responded with something the gods could not comprehend: determination. For humanity, the warning was not a deterrent but a challenge. If the gods feared their progress, then it only affirmed the importance of continuing. Scientists and thinkers across the globe argued that they were on the verge of uncovering something monumental, something that even the gods themselves sought to keep hidden. And so humanity pressed on. They built machines capable of peering into the higher dimensions, technologies that allowed them to study the very essence of the gods. What they discovered was astonishing. The elder gods were not invincible. For all their power, they were bound by their own laws and limitations. They were architects of the cosmos, but they were also prisoners of their own creation. This realization was humanity's ultimate triumph. The gods, for all their warnings and interference, were no longer untouchable. They could be understood, challenged, and perhaps even surpassed. The elder gods, watching from their higher planes, knew the truth. Humanity's defiance had set a precedent, one that could not be undone. The mortals they had once ignored had become something more, something that even gods could not control. And so, the gods retreated, their warnings echoing across the cosmos, carried by the light of dying stars. They did not know what would come next, but they understood one thing with chilling certainty: humanity had become a force that could not be contained. The universe, once their eternal dominion, now bore the mark of a new power, one that burned with the fire of defiance. For the elder gods, this was the end of an era. For humanity, it was only the beginning. This is why the elder gods fear us. In the vast cosmic theater, humans are the unpredictable wildcard, the defiant spark that burns brighter than the stars. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more cosmic tales from Starlight Sci-Fi. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars.